Welcome, everybody, to the Indiana Basketball Weekly Show on the Gruely True Sports Network. I am Mike Goodpaster. With me, as always, from God Woodson Facebook page, which you should check out, Brian Mohr. How you doing, Brian?
I'm doing great, Mike. It's getting warmer down here. The pool's ready to go. I'm a happy camper again.
I was 80 today. I was getting ready to get my air conditioner, and then I realized that Monday is supposed to be 52. So what are you going to do? All right,
Yeah,
so let's go ahead and let's talk. The Hoosiers had a big signing. And by big, I mean 7 foot big. And they got the
that's right.
Ware kid from Oregon that I know you wanted. And this is a kid that came into college with a ton of hype and momentum. I think a lot of people thought he might be a one and done, Brian, because the kid, the NBA loved him at the time, but he did not flourish in his first year at Oregon. Hopefully, this transfer to Indiana will reignite his career and help him realize which immense potential. The thing that worries me is when I look at scouting reports on him, almost every one of them says the same thing at the end. Needs to play with consistent intensity to reach his ceiling. How much does that worry you?
A little bit. I mean, I think, if you look at where he grew up in Arkansas, I mean, you talk about the freshman adjustment to the college level. He had no competition in Arkansas. I mean, he was playing 6'2", 6'4" guys and dominating. But I also read about his coach in high school, and he had a very good connection to him. And that's when they won the state championship there his junior year, and then he had that monster season his senior year. So I think he's one of those guys that needs somebody that can warm up to him and put a fire in him at the same time. And I'm not sure he
Yeah,
had
did you
that.
see? Yeah, we're watching film right now, and I know Brian hates the Oregon Duck Field or court, but I mean, if you watch this, I don't know if Trace ever made a 3 pointer in his career. This guy can make the three, and he can block the. I mean, he's an all around. He's a solid player. I don't think he's a great post player, but I think he's slightly above average. But the thing about him is, and especially if you look at Purdue with the possibility of Zach Edey coming back, he can be a nightmare for Edey because you can get Edey away from the basket if he's the guy that's got to guard Ware.
Yeah, and I think if you look at besides his highlight, I watched some of the video of him too, and you know Oregon has 3 7-footers, or they did, not now. And I saw him a lot playing the 4 spot and the 5 spot. So I mean, he was playing both. Um, and I could really see him and Renew playing basically both forward positions, and you know, one or the other crashing in when the other makes the move. And I really think he'd drive Edie nuts because Edie's going to have to come out of the paint and guard him. If not, he's going to shoot. I mean, he's not fantastic from three. He shot, I think, like 55 threes last year, or attempted 55, made 27% of them. But the fact is he still shot it,
And
and
he
I
made
think
enough where you have to respect it.
exactly, exactly.
And
So
also in
I
that
don't.
front court, you're going to add him in with Peyton Sparks too, not just Renew. So I mean, right there, you've got a starter and a backup one way or the other. However, you're playing that, if you know what I mean. So
Yeah, I think our front court is pretty much set. I mean, it'd be nice if this Deloche kid comes, but I'm not sure what's going to happen there. But I mean, if you look at the front court, you've got Renew and you've got Banks and Ware and Sparks. That's the makings of a good front court.
yeah,
You could have,
Robert Stewart says seems with where Sparks and Malik they are interchangeable, and they are, and I think that's a good thing, Brian.
yeah.
Turn your
I
damn
mean,
phone off during the show, Brian.
some people just won't leave me alone. But yeah, I think I'd be actually kind of really interested to see Sparks and God damn, excuse my French. Um,
That's not French, by the way.
yeah, Sparks and Ware playing at the same time, because I think they both could crash the boards. And we know Sparks is a high energy guy. Um, I'd be really interested to see that. I mean, I think if he's playing with Renew, I think he's going to be playing more of the outside, and Renew's going to be playing the inside.
Yeah, and Robert says it's time to get a wing. Do you think there's a wing on the roster? Because I know we do have the Newton kid coming in from high school, which I finally got a chance to watch a full game he played in. I really like that kid.
Yeah, I was only I didn't get too excited only because I was worried about his situation with his knee injury. But I think you said you saw it
Yeah, I
after the
saw
knee.
him. Yeah, during the season, he played with a knee brace, and what I saw is about midway through the season, the knee brace went to a knee sleeve. So that made me
Okay.
feel a lot better about that.
Yeah, yeah. He for six. What is he? 6'4". He's not afraid to shoot the three. He's not afraid to go inside. Um, he's aggressive on defense. I mean, I think he'd be a great number two, maybe a small three, but definitely a great number two. Great
All right,
shooting
all
guard.
right. And then we've got a guy who we kind of think we want, and that's Chris Ledlum. And that doesn't look as good as it did a week ago, which I did have somebody in the Harvard football program that told me they were pretty sure he was going there, but he's decided to check out Tennessee. And he was here in Indiana at the same time Ware was, at least for part of that time, I think, wasn't he, Brian?
Yeah, and he's actually going to be there at the same time as your other guy, Dalton's going to be there now at Tennessee. So
Yeah, the Dalton kid, what's his last name? Connect or something, or
Nick,
Kinnick, or
I don't know,
yeah,
is the K silent or the N silent?
I
I don't
don't
know.
know. We'll just call him Dalton. But the kid from Northern Colorado, a lot of people thought he was going to Oregon. Now, Ledlum he had the official visit at IU last weekend. But unlike Ware, Ledlum has decided to take additional visits before choosing a transfer destination. Doesn't mean we're out of it, but not as good as Ware deciding right away. Now, he will officially visit Tennessee beginning Thursday evening all the way through Saturday.
And
And
then
then he'll go to St. John's with Rick Pitino. He'll probably have a couple strippers and a couple prostitutes ready for him when they get on campus.
that's the way. Well, and think about it. I mean, he is a New York kid, so part of him may want to stay out in the East. I don't know, but I really thought for sure that by Wednesday after Ware had announced, I thought for sure he was going to announce, and so I don't know if he's cooled on it or I mean, he's a smart kid. He may be looking at all of his options.
You don't want to jump into things. And I mean, he's a player that was on IU's radar before the season even ended.
Right.
He was a graduate of an Ivy League school. So the only way he could play another year is to transfer due to that league's rules. Ledlum was a unanimous first team all Ivy League player after averaging 18.8 points, 8.5 rebounds, 1.8 steals, 1.1 blocks per game while shooting 47% from the field as a senior. He only made 30% of his 3-point attempts, and he only converted 65% of his free throw line attempts. So I don't know, especially after watching full games with him. He's a good player. I wouldn't be upset if he came, but I'm not as big on him as I was a week ago from just watching highlights, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I saw. I was looking at a chart. I mean, he takes a lot of shots. He likes to go to the boards, and in the Ivy League, maybe you can get away with it. I'm not sure at 6'6". I mean, he's not a super jumper. I mean, he's athletic, but I mean, he's more strong than he is quick. I don't think he could bang under the boards at his height and his strength level in the Big Ten. I mean, I don't see him as a starter. Let's put it that way.
All right. We can also, I want to bring up, you can follow us on the Grueling Truth, at Grueling Truth on Twitter. We've got a question about L. Ellis, who is from Louisville. L. Ellis is a guy who now has become the popular guy or one of the popular guys that people bring up. L. Ellis played at Louisville last year, which means he's not really sure how to win games probably now. But the thing about Ellis is he's a guy, Brian, we were talking about this before the show, that said even if he doesn't think he's being drafted, he would leave for an NBA G League contract. So I
Right.
don't know why we would be interested in him. I don't know that we are interested in him.
Well, all I know is that we did reach out to him. How serious it is, look, I think he's gone. I think going back to college, excuse me, is his last choice. That's if he can't get a G League contract, and I can't see why a kid who was scoring as many points as he did his first year out of Louisville can't get a G League contract. So
Yeah,
I don't think
I
it,
agree.
I don't think it's even worth talking about the kid. I don't think he's
Yeah. The guy who's worth talking about, you brought him up to me yesterday, I think, but Matthew Cleveland from Florida State. I know the Miami Hurricanes are all over wanting him. I think he would be the biggest get we could possibly get. I don't know. You can tell me, is there any interest from IU, which I'm sure there probably will be, but we don't know if there's interest from Cleveland or not.
Yeah, I know that they have reached out to him. Like I said, he's from Atlanta as well, which is Rosemond's uh, stomping grounds. So I'm sure he's got an ear in there. I haven't seen anything on an official Zoom call or official visit. He's got a lot of people looking at him. I think you said there was a ton, but I mean, I know there's at least
Yeah.
15.
Yeah, there's at least 15 or 20, and the ones that worry me are like Miami of Florida, which is a team that was just in the Final Four, and it's not that far from Florida State.
But he's the kind of guy. I mean, he's a 6'7" guard, so he can play the small. He can play the small three. Um, he shoots 35% from three. He was averaging what 13, almost 14 points a game this year,
Yeah, I think right around there.
and 7 boards. So, I mean, he's kind of what I think Woodson's looking for. Is that quick kind of combo guard forward? He could bring it up the court. He can set. Um, he's the kind of guy that I think really Woody wants. And so I would be, once Woody comes back from his surgery, I wouldn't be surprised if he pushes the envelope on this guy and tries to get him up here for a visit.
Yeah. And the other thing is, I think a lot of guys forget about Trey Galloway and Caleb Banks where we're talking about the transfer portal and CJ Gunn also.
Well, yeah, and that was, I was talking to somebody else about that the other day, and it's just a matter of, Galloway, are we seeing the best we're going to get out of Galloway? Because I just don't, if we're playing a different type of offensive set next year, Galloway can shoot a three, but he doesn't shoot a lot. And you kind of want guys who are not afraid to shoot. We need, as a lot of people like to simplistically say, we need shooters.
Yeah.
And Galloway does not seem to want to put up a lot of shots. And I'm not sure that's going to really fit, especially with what we got coming in. I know people are going to hate me for this, but I don't really think Galloway's a starter next year.
No, I don't think he's a starter. I mean, I don't know why people would think he is. The speed is an issue. And right now, I want to say hi to Michael and Becky. I think they're at the boat also right now. Or not the boat, but at the ocean, because I saw Becky posted a video. We got a new one, Josh Bays. Got the Cincinnati Reds banner. There you go. Let Ledlam and Dalton get more familiar with each other this weekend. Then get Dalton on campus next week and get them both. I think things will pick up steam with Matthew Cleveland of Florida State as well, with the connections with Rosemond. So he agrees with you there also. And Matthew Cleveland, I would rather have over all the other guys combined right now, Chris.
I would agree because I think, I think we're close from the guard spot. I mean, it really depends. I think we both agree that Cups, whether he starts or in the beginning of the season or starts towards the end of the season, he will be our starting point guard at some point next year, I believe. Whether it's a combination with Xavier, if Xavier gets his medical. So, a guy like Nick likes to be, as I understood, I was reading an article on him, he likes to kind of run the point himself. So he's got competition here. Is that something he really wants to be part of? If he's not going to be the main dog, if he's going to be a shooting guard, it might be a little bit more of a sell on him to get him to come here.
Hey, Robert must have come in late because he says Newton and Cup incoming also. We said that 15 minutes ago. Come on. You got to watch the whole show, Robert. He's probably watching the Reds or something. Yeah, and also with Michael and Becky, make sure you check out the IU Red Chair group. And, of course, Brian's got Woodson. What else you got tonight here? I'm checking for questions. How about this? The Michigan Wolverines. We've got a question from @Billy1680. And that is, do you think that the Wolverines are losing Bufkin and Howard to the NBA draft and Dickinson to the transfer portal? Do you think that this will be Juwan Howard's last year? Now, they do have Caleb Love. They've got Trey Jackson coming from Seton Hall. They got Burnett coming from Alabama. You got George Washington III, who's a top 100 of 24/7, and a guy named Papa Conte, which wasn't that one of the wasn't he in The Godfather?
Yeah, I think that's what this is the exact thing I was thinking when you said that.
Yeah, he sounds like somebody in The Godfather.
I don't think we're going to see the last. I don't think this is his last year unless they have a
I think
tournament.
it's his last year because I don't think they make the NCAA tournament. If he couldn't make it with the roster he just had of three guys that are possibly NBA first round picks, how the hell is he going to make it now?
Well, I was thinking more along the lines if he finishes in the bottom half of the Big Ten, um, then maybe then maybe we could see it. But I think he's going to be right in the middle somewhere because we don't know what he's going to do with Love. I mean, you know,
He's going to
Love
let
can give
Love do whatever Love wants to do, and it
pretty
won't end up
much,
good. I mean,
and he can.
that's what they do.
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
doesn't
it
coach.
really is. Yeah, he doesn't coach. He's one of those guys that he's like the movie Hoosiers. He's the original coach, the guy that would just roll the balls out and the boys would run up and
Yeah,
down the court and shoot the ball,
you
and
can't
nothing
score if you
ever
don't
done.
shoot.
Can't score if you don't shoot. Can't defend anybody if you're too tired from shooting either. So,
Stop
all right,
dribbling the ball.
we have another question, and this is from at Baba Booey, whatever the hell that is. Was that a Howard Stern there or something? But he
Probably, yeah.
says Northwestern. Do you think that Bowie and Ottage will come back for a fifth season? Because I know right
I
now,
do.
from what I read about them, they're both testing the waters, and I would like to see at least one of them leave. And I mean, that's not because I don't like them; it's just because I don't want to play against them. But what's your
I have
take
not
on
heard
it?
a word. So that one, I mean, I've been so caught up honestly in this transfer portal, seeing who we're looking at every week. I mean, I really haven't paid as close attention to the rest of the Big Ten as probably I should have. Um, what about this kid? Have you heard anything more about this kid from that was supposed to go to Purdue, and there's talk he may not be going to Purdue now?
All I've heard is the talk. I have no insight there. Hold on here. We got another question from Josh, the Reds fan. He says, hypothetically, we strike out with the rest of the portal. Do we take Bates or Geronimo back if they
No.
want to come back? Even though, what? Let me finish the question. Even though I think Banks would be ahead of Geronimo, I would take this. If they want to leave, they left. Bye. I mean, really, there is a lot of things here. We've seen Geronimo for the last part of last season play extremely well. We didn't see it this year, and really both year, every year he's been here, there's been some kind of injury issue. So I don't see why you would push that. With Bates, he needs to go somewhere, maybe a smaller place where he can kind of be the man, because I think he can be successful. But I don't think. Tell me if I'm wrong here, Matt or Brian, but I don't think Tamar Bates really fits Woody's system.
No, he's more of a like you would say a Big 12 SEC kind of guy where he's taking a volume of shots every night, and I think he was too stifled under Woody's system where he didn't get to, you know, when you miss, and then you don't get another shot for a while. And I think he's the kind of guy he gets into a rhythm. I think he could be dangerous, but under Woody's system this past year, um, it really wasn't his style. It wasn't a good style for him. It wasn't as wide open as he probably would have liked.
Yeah, and I think he could be a successful player. So I think if he goes to a Kansas State or Missouri, he'll start, average 15 points a game because I do believe he's a very good basketball player.
I mean, if you were asking me either or, I would take Banks back before I take Geronimo.
Bankston,
I
what do
just
you? You
Bates.
mean
I take
Bates? Bates,
yeah.
okay.
I'm sorry, Bates. Sorry, did I say Banks?
Yeah,
Um, I mean, Geronimo was the whole idea here this year was Geronimo was supposed to be able to improve his ball handling skills and become a small three. He didn't do it. It didn't happen. What's to say? How is it going to happen next year? He said this was the year he was supposed to move from underneath the basket to being out there a small three. It didn't happen.
yeah,
In fact, he shot less threes this year than he did last year, I think.
yeah. All right, we got another question from Boiler 1883 who
Uh,
wants to know what we know about Southern Illinois transfer guard Lance Jones.
Who?
Okay, I got this then.
You
All
got
right,
it. I
Lance
don't know.
Jones to me. Well, this is the thing. I went to Indiana State. I'm sorry. I mean, my grades weren't good enough to go to IU, but he's an athletic because he played at SIU. I saw him play ISU a couple times, but he's a good athletic, experienced guard, and Purdue needs one of those. Probably two of those for next season. He was a 4-year starter for the Salukis, which makes you wonder how the hell he gets to play again. But for some reason, everybody gets to play forever now. And more than anything, though, I think about him, which really fits with Matt Painter's system at Purdue. He's outstanding on defense. I looked him up. According to Ken Palm, his steal percentage of 3.4 was 108th in the nation out of all players. And he's a two-time member of the MVC All Defensive Team. He is great at harassing point guards, but when it comes to shooting, from what I saw, I don't have any numbers. I haven't looked them up yet, but against Indiana State, he was a dude that would be really streaky. So if he's on, he's going to be really good. If he's off, but I think he'll help Purdue, but I don't really care about Purdue. So I'm
Yeah.
glad you're listening to the show, but there you
You
go.
don't ask him if he
Okay,
knows.
Robert.
He knows. See what he knows about the Purdue kid. That's what I want to know.
Yeah. So if you know anything about the Purdue kid, let us know because the only thing I know is he decommitted. I heard a rumor he may be coming to IU, but I haven't heard anything that would validify that yet. Have you, Brian?
No, it's been it's been very quiet. The only thing I've heard is that he was supposedly decommitting, and it's been coming along for a while. I heard rumors that he wants to uh, classify early, and there's supposedly no open scholarship for him this year. So I don't know what the.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
so
right. Then we got a question from Michael asking if we can get any of the UConn guys from the transfer portal.
are there any out there? I think there's one, isn't there?
I know the guard, Naheem Aline, I believe, entered the portal. I mean, but I don't know that any of those guys that are really, really good
Mhm.
are going to want to. I mean, why would you want to leave after winning a national championship?
Yeah,
But of course, you've always got guys on that team that probably didn't play as much as they thought they should have, like Aileen, which, he's going to get the hell out of there. But I haven't heard anything about Indiana being interested in him yet. And I mean, he's a guy that I believe averaged like 7 games during the 6 NCAA tournament wins. And he's kind of a streaky shooter, which in the tournament, of course, he was hot. He was streaking in the right direction.
direction.
But
Yeah.
I think he's only like a 30% shooter most of the season. So hold on. Let's see. Josh says, replying to Michael Houghton, I think they contacted one of the guards today.
Well, according to this, I was just looking. Yeah, that Naheem Aline,
Okay. They
IU,
contacted Elaine.
they have Cormac Ryan out of Notre Dame, the guard.
Notre
The
Dame still
Penn,
got a basketball team?
yeah, they actually getting a coach for once.
Who'd they get? I forgot.
The guy from Penn State.
Okay, that's right. I'm glad he's gone. I didn't like him. He was a good coach. He used to kick our ass.
Here's the guy. So Cormac Ryan from Notre Dame, who's a guard. Keba Ninji, the Penn State center.
Okay.
Jalen is Deloach. We're still talking about him because he was supposed to come this week, but with Woody going through his knee surgery, he's rescheduled towards the end of the month. Noah Thomason, a Niagara guard. Don't know anything about him. Max Amos from Oral Roberts.
Yeah, that would be a good one. And see, the thing is this, if we look at it, a lot of, power conference teams did really well with those guys. I mean,
Right.
if you look at Noel from Kansas State, he was a dude that was in a mid-major program, went to Kansas State and damn near took him to the Final Four. Let's see. Robert Carter says, I believe the 2024 class is most important. I will tell you about where Indiana with the young kids in the country. It will tell you about where Indiana is. We missed an is, Robert. Is with the young kids in the country. Wait a second here. Michael Houghton says, last I heard, Purdue kid did commit for IU. I have not heard that. Have you, Brian?
No, nowhere on any of the boards have I seen anything on that. It's been really, really quiet. Other than some, there's that one guy out there claims he knows everything um, on Twitter, but I don't. He just throws things out there, and if he's wrong, he deletes
Oh, Dan
it.
Dockage?
Yeah, that's the guy.
I
Yeah,
thought
that's
maybe it
right.
was Dan Dockage. That sounds like Dan. Just throw a bunch of stuff up and see what sticks. So, Michael,
Well,
you weren't checking the Dan Dockage Twitter feed, were you, on the Purdue kid?
don't at me. He's on Don't At Me, I think is what they call it now.
All right. Josh says
Um,
we're playing Robert Cardum, Liam McNeely, or the two others from Mount Verde and Flore. Flore would be huge from Kokomo. We both talked about him. I would love to have
yeah.
Flore.
Well, he's not next year. He's the year after. He's
Yeah, I don't care
2024.
what year he is. I want to have Flore.
Yeah, and the two kids. I like that Liam McNeely kid. Um, I think if we can get Flory, it'd be perfect because let's face it, if Ware has the kind of year with Woodson's coaching that we think he can have, he might be a one and done with us. I mean, he's got 3 years of eligibility, but if
I
he
think it's
has,
going to take him 2 years to get to that level, though. Because I also think with his first year, whatever you salt, if you know what I mean, because of what you saw the first year, I'm talking about if you're going to throw millions of dollars at him. So,
right,
and the other one is
yeah,
VJ Edgecombe, which the Hoosiers offer today. He's a wing that is a 2024 wing,
wing,
and he's
right.
considered one of the best wings in the country.
So we've got some good stock potentially coming in 2024. I
Here's
this
Michael.
year,
He says he has no. We were making fun of Dan, Mike. It's just because he said Zach Edey was coming out. Robert Carter has got an Indiana women's basketball question about AJ Guyton's daughter. You know anything about that?
nope, don't know a word
Why not?
because I leave the women's basketball up to you.
Okay. Well, I believe that's Aaliyah. And she's from Peoria High School. I think she was only like she's only like 16 though, isn't she? So I think she's still got a little bit to
Yeah,
go from
she's like she's a
thing I heard.
junior, I think. I think she's a junior.
Yeah, I think she's only a junior.
What
But
about
I
the
mean,
rumor?
when she was 14 years old, she was getting Power Five offers.
What about LeBron's son? You see the rumor mill on him?
No, I don't care about LeBron James or his son. Why? Where's
We'll
he
talk
going?
about him. We'll talk about his son.
What
And now
about his son?
well, there's rumors he's
I hold his father against him.
well, he is a son of a. Never mind. Um, but there's talk that Woody's talking to him.
Talking to who?
Bronny James
I
is
already forgot
that?
who the hell we were talking about. I don't want Bronny James. That brings a circus with it. And Robert, yes, as a girls basketball player, she is a baller. So hopefully having AJ Guyton there will kind of push her this way. And I think it also helps that, you actually had a Hoosier girl or Hoosier lady go into sixth pick of the first round to the Indiana Fever
Yeah,
also. So
right. So
I
now
think
we
that
got
was only like the fifth or sixth Indiana Hoosier female player to be drafted by the WNBA. So that's got to help the program also.
well, yeah. It's just too bad that the season ended the way it did because they were just having such a magical season prior
Yeah,
to
to
that.
lose in the second round to Miami.
Yeah,
Who
after
does that?
the men's team, yeah, it was destined. We we
Yeah.
beat Purdue and the women's team beat Purdue. We lose to Miami and the women's team loses to Miami. Go figure.
Well, hell, well, and then Iowa almost won it. Can't like anything with Iowa in it.
Is this going to be the McCaffreys last year?
I hope so. I can't stand that dude, but he does win enough games to keep it. If you know
Yeah,
what
but
I mean.
he's getting more psychotic every year. I mean, come on.
I don't know. Can he really get more psychotic? I think he just continues the same flow of psychosis.
Yeah, but it inches up a little bit more every year. Like going over
Hold
to the other
on.
teams.
Robert says, I am 60 years old. I would like to go see Indiana play a real game. Can you help me? Possibly. Where do you live, Robert? Give us an answer there.
And the next question.
Because I mean, hell, if you could write, Robert, we could make you our beat reporter for Indiana basketball.
There
We
you
get you
go.
credentialed. There you go. He lives in
He's never.
Evansville. Robert, I have some issues at Evansville. Evansville is horrible. I coached football there, the Evansville Rage in 2012. The city
Man,
was
he
fine.
lives in Evansville and he's never been to an IU game in Bloomington. What is that? 3 hours away?
Probably. The only problem with going to Bloomington for me is it's all back roads. So if you look on a map, you think that's like a 60-minute drive, and it turns into like 2.5 hours. So
Well, there is no interstate to Indiana to Bloomington.
I know that's what I mean. That's why
Yeah.
almost every place is 3 hours away from Bloomington. It seems like, but what the hell? Anything else you want to discuss before we wrap it up?
No, just hope we have another show soon because we have some good news because we still got what three, four, three scholarships, four if Xavier doesn't get his medical red shirt. Do you think that's hurting us, not him being an unknown at this point?
It can't help. I mean, there's no way it can help, especially when you're looking for guards now.
Right.
Because right now, Michael's ready for one more. What's that mean? You drinking again, Michael?
Ready for one more drink? Okay.
We're just kidding. We're just kidding, Michael. But and yeah, Robert, we'll see what we can do to help you there. But just keep listening to the show because you stop listening, we can't help you. And you got to bring all your friends to the show too. But
I hope the NCAA pulls their head out of their butts and makes a decision with Xavier soon. Because if they're not going to give it to him, that we're going to be losing some good shots at some good cards because of it.
Yeah, but the NCAA doesn't care.
I
don't
know
think they're going to do it whenever they want to do it, and that's the bad thing about it. Because once again, the NCAA could give less than a shit about the kids. They're just in it to make money. They're a big corporation, like every big corporation. They don't care about the workers. So, all right. So, Michael, make sure you check out the IU Red Chair group. Yes, they should, Josh. They should hear soon about X. The problem is this. I mean, we last played our last game a month ago. We should have probably already heard about X just so they could let him know what he was doing. I mean, that seems to be, and I mean, really.
But you just said the NCAA doesn't care.
No, I know they don't care. That's my point. But for us as Hoosier fans, and more importantly for Xavier,
yeah,
he's going to go play basketball somewhere professionally, whether it's Europe, the G League, or whatever. So he needs to know these things. Our team needs to know these things, especially Mike Woodson, so he knows exactly who he should be recruiting.
So the report I saw on this several weeks back said it could go even into May before we have an answer.
Oh, yeah. And a lot of times you get screwed over. I think they damn near just sit in there and flip a coin. Because with him, I think the rule is you have to have only played 10% of the games.
And he's hit 31.4.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and the NCAA is a big enough dickheads there to just say, no, you played more than 30%, so you're out.
Right.
If we'd have won, if we'd have won the second round game, it'd have been at 30%. We'd have been fine.
Yeah.
What the hell are you going to do? All right, Brian. Hopefully, whenever we sign, I don't know why do I keep trying to call you Robert? It's probably because we got like 5 different Roberts that usually message us. Josh Bays, make sure you come check us out next time we're on. We will plan to do this show every Thursday night at 7. Let's see. Robert said there's a great crowd. Are the Reds at home tonight, Robert? Because, see, I gave up on watching the Reds, even though they're my favorite team, because they took it. I just don't know where I could watch it. I think I would have to switch to like Fubo or something. And I've got YouTube TV, and I can't see the Reds game. Hell, I've got the MLB package. I can see every team but my team. So,
you can't see the Reds on MLB Network?
No, I'm too close. So they black me out because I'm like 30 minutes from Cincinnati.
Oh, that's crap.
I know. They blacked me out from the Pacers, and I'm an hour and a half from Indianapolis.
Well,
they black out the Columbus Blue Jackets in the NHL. I'm 2.5 hours from there.
Well, it's funny because when I used to get that DirecTV package and watch the Cubs games, and every time they played Miami, I had to listen to those shitty Miami announcers. For whatever reason, they wouldn't let you listen to the Cubs
Well, how about
announcers.
Robert? I can't get Bally's because I'm not going to pay that much money for cable. And like I said, MLB, I've got the package, but I am not allowed to watch Reds games because I live only 30 minutes.
Well, if you don't want to, whoop, hello.
No, I'm good. It was my picture got blurry.
Well, if you get Direct TV, and then they got that Major League, what they got,
I've
extra
got the
innings.
Major League Baseball package, but you are blacked out. It's just like the NFL package. They'll charge you $400, but you can't watch your own team unless you live more than 2 hours away from that city. It's an absolute joke. It's bullshit. And if Major League Baseball wanted people to watch, I mean, the worst thing I ever had in Major League Baseball are the Tampa Bay Rays going 13-0 because they're 13-0 and they're like there'll be 8,000 people there even then.
Yeah. Well, because you know what happens? They're like the Pirates. As soon as their players get good, they trade them.
Yeah, they go somewhere else. I mean, 2020, they look ready to go. Gave them all away. But at least we're not Cubs fans. I've seen my team win it all 3 times in
Ah,
my
here we
life.
go. Here we go.
And my hat fits my head. All right, guys. We're going to wrap it up. Brian, you got a Twitter people can follow you at or send you
It's
messages if they want?
It's BKMOHR in FL.
Damn, that's an awful lot of letters. And you can follow me at Grueling Truth. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell notification button on YouTube. See if we can get up to 73,000 subscribers. We're a couple hundred short, but make sure you do that. Also, check out all our videos tomorrow. We've got an inside. Michael Houghton says, bye, guys. Okay. Thanks, Mike, for watching.
Becky and Michael. Okay.
But make sure you check out our Inside Boxing Weekly show tomorrow with myself and award-winning boxing author, John Raspani. That will be live at noon Eastern, where we'll go over this weekend's upcoming fights. And we will also, or I will have, during the day tomorrow, previews for all 8 NBA series is coming up this weekend, even though I hate the NBA. But just because you don't like it doesn't mean you can't make money on it, Brian. That's the big
that's
thing.
true. I know.
All right, guys.
The Bulls are in it, so
until tonight, probably. But we will be back. Plan on next Thursday at 7. But if we have any breaking news where any of these guys sign or anything happens that's newsworthy, you can figure we will be on at 7 or 8 o'clock that night to break it down. But for now, for Brian Mohr, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been watching and listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.